I love Booktok because you know what? They stay messy over on Booktok. Last week we had Onyx Storm, the Call Me Chris video. Like we had so much drama, and in the middle of all this drama, we had an incident with an author and a model where the model was claiming that the author actually stole her likeness for the cover of her book, which I found super interesting, and I want to talk about it because I didn't see a ton of other people touch up on it, and I kind of feel like we just kind of moved on from the situation a little bit too quickly, and I want to dive in deep on this one because it really interests me, especially now that we're having a ton of conversations about AI and cover art in particular and editing and editors. I really want to talk about this. So let's get started. Now, in today's story, we have two parties. We have Indie Windy, a model, and we have Risa M. Nelson, I'm so sorry if I didn't say your name right, who is an author. Now, this video all started when Indie posted a video saying that an author stole her likeness for the cover of her book. Now, obviously, stealing is a huge no-no on TikTok. That generally tends to tick some people off, and Indie goes on to claim that Risa M. Nelson stole her likeness for the cover of her book. Now I want you to really look at this cover right here. It's beautiful, right? It's gorgeous. Love it. Soak it in, really look at it, okay? Here's our model that claims that her likeness was stolen. This is the photo that she claims that it was stolen from, okay? They look similar, and here's them together. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's the same person in both of those photos. Okay, that is the same person. The reason this story kind of devolved so quickly is because the author and the model exchanged some messages. Now, I'm not sure if they were via Instagram or TikTok, but the messages are going to be posted up right here. Now, Indie did make several videos about the author, and then I believe they messaged each other. And I really want to talk about these messages because I feel like we're kind of overlooking a lot of key information in them that nobody else talked about. Now, in the first screenshot that we see of the messages, this is from Risa. This is Risa's response to Indie, and she says, "I have no idea what you're talking about. That's not how traditional publishing works. My publisher picked and hired an artist who drew this for them and for my cover. They showed sketches along the way. I never saw your face before this message. You should fact check before you make this kind of accusation. Have you considered the character that an artist drew that I did not hire just resembles you? It's really weird that you write this without having any proof that someone was ill-intentioned, but also I had nothing to do with it. If you have a problem, you have to take it up with my publisher." Now, this was Risa's response to Indie's initial prompt message that we never see. So I really want to hone in on that. We never see what Indie sends this author initially. And in Indie's video, she gets increasingly agitated when talking about this particular message. And she says that she felt like it was very defensive. And to that I have to say, because after this video, Indie goes on to say that she will be suing the author. So, I mean, I was pre-law before I was marketing, okay? And I'm just going to tell you, when you involve the concept of suing someone into a situation, they typically will become defensive, okay? Because getting sued is not something that is taken lightly, and it's not something that's done very easily. It's usually very time consuming and it's very expensive. So if you threaten to sue someone, typically they're gonna be defensive, okay? That's just my experience with it. I don't know if Indie's had a different experience with suing people, but that's what I saw when I was pre-law, and that's just what I'm kind of used to. Now, Indie actually responds to this message, and we see that in the second screenshot. She responds with the photo that she claims that the author stole and used her likeness of, and the message that reads, "Wrong answer. On top of artist, you need a PR to help with your media training, love. I remember a photo shoot I did years ago that went viral. I'll see you in court, hun. Please have your lawyers reach out to me. Blessings." Now, there's a couple things I want to go over that were in Risa's message that I feel like was kind of overlooked, because after these, like I said, after these screenshots were posted, she got dragged through the mud essentially, and she turned off all of her comments on her posts, and it kind of went downhill from there. So I want to talk about a couple of things that were in Risa's message that I feel like we overlooked and that need to be discussed more. Now, I think it's really interesting that the author says, I find it weird that you write this. And so that means she's not referencing any of the videos that Indy had sort of made about her before this. She was referencing something that Indy had sent to her prior to us getting this first message. So it makes me wonder if Indy had been messaging the author before this and was being very aggressive. Because I feel like you don't just get this kind of response out of someone without poking the bear a little bit. So what I think happened is I think Indy probably messaged the author and was very aggressive in her messaging and said something that was probably either to the effect of, I'm going to sue you, or something along those lines. And I feel like that's why we got the response the way it was. It was a very defensive response. But again, I'm not going to blame the author, because after these screenshots came out, Indy changed her tune completely. It wasn't somebody stole my likeness. It then became, I'm suing an author for stealing my likeness, which again, like I said earlier, when you threaten to sue someone, typically they get a little worried. Now, when looking at these two photos side by side, and now that we've looked at the messages, there's some things I really want to touch on. I am not saying that this is not the same person, okay? They look incredibly alike. They look incredibly similar. I'm not saying that the girl on the cover is not Indy. It could be Indy. It could have been the artist could have taken inspiration from Indy's photo. I don't know. But there are a couple of things that I do know in addition to the fact that those photos look similar. And that is that I believe Risa didn't have any part in creating the cover. When you get your book published, a lot of authors do not get any say in what the cover looks like. That's not how publishing works. That's not how going through a publishing house works. The publishers will find a cover artist for you, and they will give the cover artist some prompts, some ideas. Risa may have thrown in what she thought the cover could look like, but she didn't have any final say. The publishing house did. The publishing house contracted the artist. They said, hey, we need a cover for this book. The author thinks that it would look cool like this, but draw it how you want and let us know what you think. The cover artist may have sent several different variations of the cover to the publishing house to pick. But at the end of the day, Risa didn't pick the artist and she didn't make the cover, which is why I don't understand why Indy is so honed in on the fact that she is suing the author. And she really digs into the author in this situation when she really should have just gone for the cover artist who made the cover. Case in point, with all of that, with all that we know now, I feel bad for the author. I'm sorry, I feel bad for Risa because I don't feel like this was her fault. I checked her Goodreads for the book. It has absolutely horrible Goodreads, and they're all referencing the fact that her cover has someone's stolen likeness and stolen image. What we have from this situation is a author whose career is honestly tarnished, really tarnished right now, and we have a model who kind of blamed the wrong person. I'm sorry. I don't feel as though Risa was the one to blame in this situation. And honestly, I don't feel like the publishing house was even really to blame. I feel like it was the cover artist. We really should have honed in on the fact that an artist stole someone's likeness and sold it to a publishing house for money. It didn't contact, like, that's even more twisted than the author thing. So I don't understand how we got here, honestly. Indy even says that she would have totally agreed to have her likeness used on the cover of the book if she had been sent a request to use it, and if the author had just asked to use her likeness for her cover, when Risa didn't make the cover. So I don't understand how you expect this author to reach out to you and ask to use your likeness when she didn't make the cover. And I guess I don't understand. I'm sorry, I don't. Obviously, you know how I feel about it. I want to know how you feel about it. Do we think the author was in the wrong here? That's what I want to know. Do we think that the author was in the wrong? Do we feel like the publishing house is in the wrong? Now, personally, I know I can already hear a couple questions. Morgan, the publishing house should have made sure that the likeness wasn't stolen on the cover. Okay, and to that I say, why would they think the likeness was stolen? Honestly, like I personally don't think I would have double checked that this cover that I got from an artist that had, according to Risa, had been providing sketch updates on the cover. I wouldn't have thought that she stole that likeness. And honestly, I don't know why they would double check or reverse image search it or anything, because truth be told, if I was in the publishing house's position, I don't think I would have double checked, honestly. And you can say what you want, but I don't think you would have double checked either. So I really think, in my opinion, this falls to the cover artist. And you know what I think would be even funnier is if the cover artist actually did reach out and be like, hey, I'm working on this book and I would really love to use your image. Do you think that'd be okay? Like, I could totally see that happening. I would love to know what initial message that Indy sent to Risa. I want to know what that message said, because I have a feeling it was probably not very kind or nice. I want to read the book now, so I may do that. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. I want to know if you would read this book, who do we think's at fault, and everything else. But other than that, that's all I really have for you guys today, and I love you guys. Bye.